Welcome to Confidently Visible, the podcast that helps you move through visibility blocks, including fear, resistance, and overwhelm to share life-changing work with the world and grow your business and attract more beautifully aligned clients that rave about your work. I'm your host, Beck Sands, a visibility mentor, a certified life coach, and an award-winning PR consultant based in sunny Newcastle, Australia. Let me guide you on how to show up as your unique self, to share your incredible work, and to grow your audience with more consistency, ease, and flow. Whether you are a consultant, an entrepreneur, a CEO, a coach, or a creative, this is the space to unlock your uniqueness, to grow your audience, and to make a bigger impact, all while feeling good about being seen. The world needs to hear your message. So let's get started. I am interrupting this podcast episode to share that we have started a waitlist for our upcoming Confidently Visible speakers training sessions that we'll be hosting in Newcastle. Now, at these sessions, we are going to support you to become confidently visible and to hone and refine your presentation style so that you can become the absolute best speaker that you can be and have so much more fun increasing your visibility and building your personal brand, whether you're in a career or business, and growing your profile to attract more beautifully aligned clients and opportunities. So in the speakers training, we will be helping you to increase your visibility to grow a thriving career or business, show potential clients and employers how good you are at speaking, to share your personal brand and expertise through effective presentation, and to support your journey to become a thought leader in your field. If you would like to find out more about when the next speakers training will be held, make sure that you jump on over to becksands.com/speaker training. That's becksands.com/speaker training to jump on the waitlist, and we'll share more details with you then. Now let's get back to the episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Confidently Visible podcast. It is wonderful to be here with you today. I am sharing today a little bit about corporate versus business and what it takes to become confidently visible in both. And I feel like there are so many similarities to building a personal brand in corporate, as well as building a personal brand in business, but there's also some fundamental differences. And I'm just going to share a little bit about those to support you in navigating, no matter whether you're building a personal brand and increasing your visibility in your business or in corporate, or if you're doing a little bit of a mix of both, like if you're a consultant and you do still have a little bit of a corporate focused profile versus, building a personal brand business and promoting your services and your values and who you are as a person. So there is a little bit of intermingling. There's a little bit of, overflow with both of these. And I do feel like there's a lot of similarities. But again, let's have a chat about some of the similarities and some of the differences and how you can navigate through these, no matter what kind of personal brand you're building and why you're building your visibility and the reasons behind that. So both paths of visibility, whether you're building a personal brand for your career or you're building it for business, do require boldness and they do require courage. So showing up in any way, increasing your visibility in any way, requires a huge amount of courage. Okay, so I just want to say that from the get-go, because being visible and speaking in public and putting yourself out there, putting your ideas out there, putting your work out there, none of that is easy, no matter what you're doing, no matter what the purpose. It all requires a continuous self-growth. It requires ongoing learning. And it also just requires a lot of strength in moving forward and overcoming obstacles that come up. And a lot of the time, these obstacles are our own. So our own limiting beliefs around visibility, our own limitations around, how we're showing up, how we feel like we're being perceived, where we show up, what we do, the actions that we take. A lot of those sort of things are self-imposed, right? But there are so many things that you can do to move through these. And today I'm going to chat through some of the mindset shifts that are required for becoming visible in business versus corporate, why building a personal brand is essential for both paths. It's just expressed differently. The emotional challenges and some of those things that come up inevitably when you're stepping into the spotlight and when you are the brand. And also practical tips for showing up with confidence, whether you're in a team or you're on your own or you're a leader and you're leading the team. So I'm going to dive into some of those things today, and hopefully these will support you with your confidently visible journey. All right. When I was in corporate, I'm going to just share a bit of background about how I've navigated through some of these challenges. So when I was in corporate, I knew a few years into my career that if I was going to eventually move into leadership positions, that I would need to put myself out there, to speak up in public, to be perceived as a leader, to be more visible, to share my expertise, and so on and so forth. So I knew that I needed to be more visible. But, the challenge that I had was that I hated it. Put simply, I really didn't want to be visible. I wanted to just put my head down and do my work and, just hopefully be recognized for that. And, to a certain extent, yes, I was recognized for that. But when you are growing a career in leadership, you know that you need to put yourself out there. You need to be speaking in public. You need to be on panels, at events, and so on and so forth. So you need to have a profile. And to be perceived as a leader, you do need to be able to speak in public. You do need to be able to speak in front of people and to have a voice of being authoritative in some way, right? So I had to overcome the challenge of not wanting to do it because I knew that in order to move forward, it was absolutely essential. So the downside became less appealing than the upside, so to speak, around building my visibility. And so what I did was I just started small. So I started with presentations in the company that I was in. And then I started to, speak in front of, clients and industry people. And then I started to speak at industry events and on stage. And I was able to really gather the support of some incredible people around me that helped to mentor me. I did a speakers training day, and I just really practiced and put myself out there and did it again and again and again. And I was super nervous and I would stumble over my message and I was not polished or perfect in any way, shape or form, but I did it. And then the more I got to know my message, the more I did it, the better I got at it. And then the more I was then perceived as that leader. And of course, then I was actually promoted into leadership positions. And so I feel like, this is a thing. It does work. It has results and you can do it no matter where you're starting from. It's just that it can feel really challenging and quite difficult, particularly when starting out. But what I have shared with you in the past, so the last couple of episodes I did share on staying with the flow in your business and also having more fun when building your personal brand. So I highly recommend going back and jumping on to the podcast to listen to those last couple of episodes if you are wanting to make your visibility efforts more enjoyable and feel more enjoyable for you when it does feel difficult. But just know that the repetition, the continually and consistently showing up, these all will help to make it feel more easeful for you. So that was when I was in corporate. I, showed up, felt the fear, and did it anyway. And then, when I was in corporate, I was building my business on the side of my corporate role. I was doing coaching, and I was a career transformation coach for corporate women. So I was helping women get promoted and to step into leadership roles and to land new roles at the money that they're worth. And I loved doing that work. And that's what I did when I very first stepped out of corporate and into my own business in tandem with consulting as well. But I also knew that in order to attract more clients and to grow a thriving business, that I had to be more visible and share my message so that the people that would want to work with me would know, what I offered and the services I provide and who I am and the values that I have and whether or not they want to work with me. Right? So in order to do that, I knew that I, again, needed to be more visible. But this time it felt so different because before I had the backing of a brand behind me. So I had that big title and that big brand, and it automatically added that credibility to what I was saying. And so when I started my own business and it was just my name, and I was like, I can give myself any title I want. CEO and founder. I didn't, but I did kind of just put my name as like coach and consultant. But, I felt like, okay, I don't have the credibility of a big brand. Like, who am I to talk on these topics? Who am I to, be interviewed on this? Who am I to pitch myself? Who am I to pitch my ideas? Who am I to, talk about this topic publicly? Who am I to say that I'm an authoritative person on these topics? And so it took me time, years in fact, to really feel like, okay, I do have the credentials to be able to talk about this. I do have the experience and, I have the knowledge. I am a really good contributor on this topic, like people will get something out of what I say, and these are kind of the things that it took me time to be able to really kind of build up in my mind that like, actually, yes, like I can talk about this topic. So if you're struggling with that in your business and you've had a profile in corporate before and you're now wanting to build a profile in your own business and you're feeling like that's a struggle, I feel like I really understand and I really get that kind of tussle between who you were and who you are and where you're going and, the reconciliation of that. But just know that you can absolutely bring all of that experience from, what you did in corporate and all of the things that you presented at, all of the ways that you showed up and you were visible in corporate. You can bring all of that into your business and into your profile now. All of that learning's not wasted. It's just that it's a new iteration of showing up and it's a new way of showing up. And, delivering your message now just will require a little bit of practice. It'll require a little bit of refinement and it'll require a little bit of iteration because when we're in business as well, particularly starting out in coaching, consulting, personal brand-based businesses, we will go through iterations of that. So the first thing that we start out with and the first messaging we have, we probably won't end up with. I know my brand has gone through many repetitions, many iterations, not repetitions. And, for me, I feel like I absolutely am still evolving, although I've absolutely landed on what I want to do. And I know this will be it for many, many years into the future. But I know that the messaging behind that may change and shift and evolve. And, how I support my clients, how I work with my clients, that might change and shift and evolve as well. And that will change and shift and evolve. And so, it's about just being open to that kind of fluidity and the change and to the evolution of the personal brand, of the business, of the message, and of the way and methods that you show up. All right, so let's have a bit of a snapshot of visibility in corporate. So when you're in corporate, you often have the comfort of a well-known brand backing you. Visibility means being a spokesperson often for the business rather than on behalf of yourself. You're typically sharing subject matter expertise. So instead of kind of personal stories or values, there's usually a team supporting you and hopefully cheering you on. And also there are some key confidence boosters that you can leverage when you're in corporate and building a personal brand in corporate. And that's kind of that strategic visibility through the company, strong internal support, and just really have the backing of the brand. In business, there's some different things that you're looking at. So you're the brand, you're the face, it's your story and your values that are front and center of the brand. And that can feel really, really uncomfortable. And I highly recommend really kind of getting to the crux of that story that you're wanting to share. And I guess getting comfortable really with what you're willing to share and what you're not willing to share when it comes to, growing your business, because you don't want to feel out of alignment with your story. You want to feel I'm pretty happy sharing that. And we'll probably go into different elements of your story on different platforms and to different audiences. But just knowing that, you're sharing something that will provide value to your audience and connection with your audience, as well as, help you to grow your business and showcase what it is that you're offering. When it's you and your business and you're being visible in your business, it takes so much resilience to keep showing up when it feels like there's no one watching yet. And I know that particularly with the social media algorithm, it can feel like ghosts out there, there's no one out there. It can feel like you're just showing up and it's just, you're invisible, right? And so it can take time to build your audience, but I did actually record an episode on this a couple of weeks ago. So jump on back and check that out. It was about what to do if you're feeling invisible with your personal brand and showing up. And I dive into that topic specifically because really building your micro community is such an important way of growing your personal brand and an important thing to focus on rather than the size of your audience or the number of clicks. It's really about the relationships and the connections that you're making with potential clients. That is the most important thing to focus on. When your visibility, increasing your visibility in business, it's more personal. So it can feel more vulnerable, but it's also deeply rewarding because you're growing something that you're wanting to grow for yourself. You're not growing someone else's dream. In business, you're growing your audience from scratch. So often in corporate, there is a pre-existing audience because, you're speaking to industry people, company clients. Whereas when you're in your own business, you might have one or two people on your email list when you get started, right? So it's without that immediate kind of validation. And also, you might feel lonely early on. You might not feel like you've got those people around you like you did when you're in corporate. But as you grow your business, you will grow that network of people around you. You will grow the team that you want to work with. So business isn't for everyone. Of course it's not. And so, this is where you can really just know whether or not it's for you. And I think if you feel the calling to business, then 100% give it a go. If you feel the calling, I feel like it is for you, But if you try it and then go, no, it's actually not, like I definitely want to work for someone else, then at least you know and you've tried and you know, right? But when you know, you know. When you know, you know. So I definitely love being in business. I love the excitement and the possibilities and the anticipation and the growth and the potential. I love creating something that, you know, is coming from me. But of course there are challenges. And when it comes to visibility, there are certainly some big challenges in transferring that knowledge from corporate days of building the personal brand into building the personal brand in your own business. All right, so let's start to have a chat about how to navigate these. So some of the core differences and how to navigate. So you do have a bit of an emotional safety net in corporate versus it can feel like emotional exposure in business. You can feel like you're navigating internal validation in corporate versus external recognition in business. And there is a shift there going from representing a brand to being the brand. And there is some learning to do to really realign your mindset for visibility in both these arenas. Okay, so some of the mindset tips that I'm going to share with you will support you with both paths. So in business, it's so important to focus on authenticity, resilience, and self-leadership in how you show up. In corporate, it's important to build strategic leadership and internal advocacy for your work. In both, it's so important to cultivate your personal brand with clarity and consistency and to reframe fear around it. So being seen is how I serve. You know, my visibility is supporting other people. My words will support other people, you know, and just feeling like what you're doing is being of service and providing value. And that is the same no matter whether you're building a personal brand for corporate or you're building your personal brand in business. All right, so let's talk about some of the action steps that you can take no matter if you're building a personal brand for business or corporate. So in business, you can start to tell your story one post, one podcast, and one conversation at a time. You don't have to go all out and share everywhere. Just start with what you're comfortable with. Start with doing one little action and then you can build out your strategy and go from there. In corporate, how can you start to get out of your comfort zone by maybe pitching a thought leadership idea like that you can submit to media, or pitching a presentation that you can give at your company over the next couple of months? So just choose the path that really feels like it aligns with your values and identify your own unique visibility edge. Like, what's that edge for you and how can you start to take just the next step to move you forward? You don't have to take a huge leap immediately, but how can you just push that kind of growth zone and start to just do one thing that feels like it's out of your comfort zone, a little bit out of your comfort zone, but not too far out of your comfort zone that it's absolutely terrifying, but, you know, just the next thing that will take you a little bit further on your journey. All right, so I hope this has really supported you. I do have a free download on my website if you would like to grab it. It's called Personal Brand Building for Business. And this will give you some tips if you're in a career as well. So anyone who's building a personal brand and increasing their visibility, jump on over to becsands.com/personal brand. Thank you so much for watching and for listening today, and I hope you have the best day, and I will see you on the next podcast. Thank you for tuning in to Confidently Visible. I hope today's conversation inspired you to show up boldly, to share your unique gifts with courage, and to move through the visibility blocks that are holding you back. If you loved this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast, leave a rating and a review, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And if you're ready to become confidently visible in your business, head over to becksands.com to join my email list and to connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Until next time, keep showing up as the amazing, unique you that the world needs.